Hi everybody, it's Lori here today to talk about the mid-year freakout tag. So this will be my first mid-year freakout tag as I started the channel earlier this year, and I'm super excited. I did take down notes from some of the other creators that I was watching. I know some of the questions are a little bit different depending on who I was watching, so I tried to get the most questions that everybody agreed on, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first question is the best book that I've read so far in 2023. I would definitely say it's The Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandala. It was such a cute book. I loved it. When I was looking over all of the books that I have read so far this year, that's the one that jumped out at me for sure. It was such a beautiful found family. It was a cute romance, grumpy sunshine romance in there. Loved the relationship between the young witches. It was just so cute. I loved it so much. Will be on my list of top books for 2023 unless something crazy happens and all kinds of great books happen at the end of the year. But yeah, absolutely love that one. Highly recommend. If you haven't read it already, pick it up. Such a cute book and one that I can't stop thinking about. Next one is the best sequel so far. That one definitely is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Another top choice for the year for me. I think I actually liked Hellbent a little bit more than I liked Ninth House. I don't know if it's because I read them in the same year. Obviously, I was catching up, that I remembered everything that was going on in Ninth House. But I think there was a lot of setup in Ninth House for me. It was a little confusing at first. There were definitely some icky moments. This one, I liked the character. So I went into it already just really loving the characters, knowing that whatever happened, I loved them and was really hoping to see Darlington come out unscathed. It was a wild ride, I will say, and I liked it better than I was anticipating. There was something that I thought would happen that I still think might happen, because I think it's supposed to be a trilogy, right? So I still think there's going to be something that's going to happen that I'm anticipating. It didn't happen in the second book. Kind of hoping I'm right. Just some setup that I'm thinking, okay, I'm the kind of person that likes to kind of guess what's going to happen in a book, in a series, that type of thing. So we'll see if that ends up coming to fruition. I think there's a really good opportunity there. So we'll see what ends up happening. But love Leigh Bardugo. Love her. She's auto-buy author already. Never tried her books before 2023 and absolutely have fallen in love with everything that she's written that I have read so far, and can't wait to jump into the Shadow and Bone series, the trilogy. I have not read that. I do own it. So excited to jump into those as well. New releases that I haven't read but that I would like to. We have 0 Days by Ruth Ware and The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I have read books by both of these authors and have enjoyed them, and they sound really good. Like the premise of both of them, right up my alley. I think I'll be reading The Only One Left very soon. At least that's my plan. I'm involved in a month-long readathon, and so we will see if I can slot it in. That's my plan anyways, to try to slot it in somewhere in August and read it. 0 Days as well, but my goal is to read both of them before the end of this year. So most anticipated releases for the second half of 2023, we have Unnatural Death. I'm reading my I have it over here. Unnatural Death by Patricia Cornwall. That's coming out in November. I love her books. I have one on an upcoming TBR, and then I think I'll be caught up. Long running fan of Kay Scarpetta and love all those books. So can't wait to see that one. And then I'm Not Done With You Yet by Jessie Q. Santanto. Didn't love the Dial A for Aunties or Dial M for Murder, something like that series that she had. But I did love the Vera Wong book that I read. That was also a 5-star. Was a runner-up to one of my favorite books of the year. We'll see how it all plays out at the end. So I can't wait to see another one by this author, and I think it's a thriller. I like that she's writing different things, so I'm excited to see how she writes a thriller. I'm looking forward to that. Can't wait for that one as well. Biggest disappointment of 2023 so far. So this is not a book that was published in 2023, but a book that I started. It's a series, so I believe there was a book in the series published this year. It's The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I am not a fan. I did not like the first book at all. Unfortunately, I think it might have to do with a little bit of the humor that's used there. I know there are a lot of references to British culture and things that just went right over my head, obviously, as an American But yeah, it was way too long. There were way too many characters, too much stuff going on, and unfortunately just didn't work for me. I wanted to love it. I tend to love books about older characters, murder, all of that kind of thing. It just didn't work for me, and I was so bummed out because I was so excited. It sounded so great, and so I had these really high expectations. Maybe that played into it a little bit for me. But yeah, that was my biggest disappointment so far. I'm glad other people are enjoying it. I'm so glad, but I've just decided it's not the series for me, so I won't be moving forward. The biggest surprise so far in 2023 was Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q. Santanto, because I didn't love, like I said, I didn't hate it. It was kind of a mid-range read for me. Her previous series, it was very wild and wacky. Think would be really, really good if you're finding yourself slipping into a reading slump and you need something to kind of shock you out of it. I think that would be a really great series. I wasn't in the mood for it at the moment, but I'm not saying I'll never go back and read maybe the third book in the series if I'm really kind of struggling. Sometimes these wild and wacky books are just what I need. So if that works for you, then definitely pick up this series. But oh my gosh, the Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers was so cute, so beautiful. This beautiful found family. Everything just comes together so well. There's a murder. I didn't really even care about that because I wanted the relationships for all of the characters in this book. I wanted to see how they would develop, how their friendships would grow, what would happen with Vera Wong's tea house. I want it to be a series. I don't know that it's going to be. It's supposed to be a standalone book, but if there was ever a case for me to beg for a follow-up book, it was absolutely wonderful. Loved it so much. Another 5-star read. If you haven't read that book, add it to your TBR. If you like found family at all, add it and make sure you pick it up this year. Favorite new to me or debut author has to be Leigh Bardugo. Of course, I have given every one of her books that I have read a 5-star rating. So if that's not a ringing endorsement, I don't know what is. I have loved all of her books in the Grishaverse, her Ninth House and Hellbent series. Super excited to finish up the Shadow and Bone series and just to basically see where she goes next. I know there's a couple of other books that are part of that whole Grishaverse. I'm gonna have to do a little research and see what else I have been missing. She's definitely an autobi author, favorite author of the year, and there's no doubt that I will be picking up everything that she writes in the future. Fictional crush, new fictional crush. We didn't say that I get crushes, not on celebrities. I've never been that way, but I will say if there was a character that I absolutely fell in love with, it would be Dr. Jacob Maddox and Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. That doctor is so swoon-worthy. He has his faults, like we all do, but the way he handles those and deals with them and his self-awareness is so amazing, and how he deals with his relationship with Dr. Brianna is so beautiful. I just loved him. His family was amazing. So if there was going to be one character that I absolutely adored, it would be him. Highly recommend that book as well. On the short list for favorite romances, and actually I've been really enjoying romances this year, and that was a top favorite. Add that one also to your TBR if you haven't read it already. Everybody that I've heard talk about it has raved about that book. Just such a beautiful story. I would say my favorite character has to be Kaz from Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. You're not supposed to love him, but I do. I think everybody loves him. He's so smart. He's ahead of the game all the time. 6 moves ahead, has backup upon backup plan, and he doesn't show his love for his friends like he probably needs to, but he does it in his own way. There are reasons why he cannot. He has quite the backstory, and so just doesn't feel safe doing that, but he shows it in other ways, and the time and attention and care that he puts in, and is always thinking about them, doesn't leave any of his friends behind, and he's just such a great character. Very interesting and intriguing because he does things for a lot of different reasons, and they're not always the best reason, but it makes sense in his moral code, in his moral compass, and I just love him. Just makes such a difference in these books. Doesn't hurt that I have a picture of him in my mind based on the Shadow and Bone series that's in Netflix, and to me, he is that character. It makes sense. They cast that perfectly, and yeah, absolutely, I just love him so much. Great character. So a book that made me cry was The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. Historical fiction usually makes me cry, and Kate Quinn always makes me cry in all of her books. books. This was no exception. I absolutely loved this. This was another World War II book, and I've kind of burned myself out on them a little bit. I had this on my TBR for quite some time. Picked it up as a part of, I believe it was a Valentine's Day week. It fit perfectly. It was great. There were times that I absolutely like scream sobbed because it shocked me so much. There was one moment I was absolutely bowled over, didn't expect the twist to come, and I absolutely love it. So this was code breakers that we had in World War II, their lives, how secretive they were. It was a group of women, and I just love to see strong women surviving and really difficult and thriving really in difficult situations, how they didn't let the times of the day prevent them from doing things that they knew that they needed to for their country, their families, whatever the case might have been. And they definitely faced a lot of adversity. A lot of people telling them that they couldn't do it because they were girls. For heaven's sakes, girls can't do that kind of stuff. And they did it anyway. They couldn't talk to anybody about what they were doing because it was such a secretive mission. Like I said, laughed, cried, the whole thing. Such a good book. Highly recommend. If you like historical fiction at all, or you're wanting to dip your toe in, I would definitely say I pick that one up. It was such a good book. So a book that really made me happy, I would say, was The Dead Romantics. I really enjoyed where that went. And it just had such a feel-good message in there. And I kept waiting. I was like, oh my gosh, please tell me this is going to go the way that I want it to go. The whole time I was like, oh, don't tell me. I'm gonna be so bummed at the end if this doesn't go the way that I want it to. And I was really happy with the outcome of the book. It was great. The family element, of course, the romance in there was such a good book. And there were other books, obviously, that I've already mentioned that have really made me happy. But I will say for this category, I think The Dead Romantics really works. I really have enjoyed romance books this year. I'd kind of fallen away from them for many, many years. But I feel like the books that are being published now in the last few years really hit the right note with me. I kind of have found kind of my niche in the romance genre and have really been enjoying it. So yeah, that one is another book that I definitely would consider picking up if you haven't already. Very cute, very fun, and definitely made me smile. Most beautiful book that I have purchased or acquired this year. I don't tend to purchase books just based on how pretty they are. Not necessarily. I know a lot of people look at the, the spines or frayed edges. I know a lot of people love that, and they're beautiful to look at, but I don't have a huge bookcase. You can't see it. I'm pointing over here like you can see it, but as you know, I don't have a really large bookcase to showcase my books, and I like to read them and pass them on. So there are not a lot that I probably will be holding on to. I would say Reckless Girls has the prettiest cover, like the vibrant colors on it. So I really did love that, and it definitely made me pick it up. I, wasn't really sure how I felt about it. It was circling a bookstore. Do you ever do that where you do one pass around and you come back again to make sure you don't miss anything? And after the first pass around, I kept thinking, I really like that vibrant yellow book. What was that again? So I sought it out. It was on clearance, and I definitely nabbed it. I would say that's got the prettiest cover of books that I picked up this year. So what books do I need to read before the end of 2023? What I would say is I would love to get through my 23 books in 2023. I don't know that's honestly going to happen because I feel like there's some of them that I'm not loving, and I don't want to just DNF them because they're not calling to me right now. I know I'm eventually going to have to do that because they've been sitting on my shelves for quite a while, some of them. So I might need to just read until I DNF it, challenge. Maybe I'll do that for a couple of the books. And if I end up loving them, I'll read the whole book. And if not, then I just need to let it go and maybe donate it, like I said, to my library or one of the little libraries in my area. So I think I might do that, but I don't know that I'm going to get through all 23. I don't know. It doesn't seem like too high of a number. I've gotten about halfway done. I will say that. So I'm happy with what I've done so far, but I don't want to just fly through and DNF just to do it, just if that makes sense. I have some that are added to some upcoming TBRs so that I can hopefully get through some more of them. There's a couple of them I'm just like, I don't know, like The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I don't know that I'm feeling it right now, and I don't want to just read a couple chapters and be like, no, because I know that at some point I'll want to read that book. So there are some that I would rather just say, you know what, I didn't finish 20 and 23, and I'm going to hold them over to 24 and maybe give myself until the end of that year to read it so that it doesn't just stay on my shelves in perpetuity. I don't know, but I would love to get majority of the 23 books done. I'll put it that way. And that'll do it. So I have lots of great reading plans for the rest of the year. I'm involved in Summerween, so I'm reading the books for that right now. And so that should come out, that video should come out in the middle of Summerween. So there's a video upcoming. I'm going to be involved in a readathon in August. Super excited about that. I will give you more details as I have them. I'm on the blue team for Pause in a Book. Started the readathon. I'll put the information in here. If you're interested, I'm on the blue team. Super excited. Can't wait to see what the prompts are. On the edge of my seat, wondering what some of the prompts are going to be, but that's part of the fun. So I'm kind of trying, every time I see a book that has a blue title, I'm like adding it to potential TBR so that if it works, I can get extra points for that. So check it out if you're at all interested. I think it'll be a lot of fun. A lot of people will be participating. Can't wait to join in there. And then just lots of TBRs that I have planned. I like to pick books around themes, as you know, and I have a lot of great themes upcoming that I'm excited to share with you. And I'm looking forward to reading some favorite new authors, finding some new favorites, continuing some series, all that fun stuff. So thank you so much for watching. If this is the kind of content that you like and are interested in, make sure you give me a thumbs up for this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you very soon. Bye, everyone.